Welcome to another Power BI Direct Query simulation. Today we will flip a coin, for 1 million times, and observe the number of heads and tails. As you know, the probability of head or tail is 50%, if a coin is flipped. However, in reality, the number of heads and tails is not actually 50% of total coin flips. Today, we will observe this experiment using SQL and Power BI. We will start our exercise by creating a database in SQL Server to store the outcomes of coin flips. Next, we will create a table inside the database that we have just created. You can use the Table Designer or Query Editor to create a table. We will create 3 columns. In the first column, we will store the date and time. In the next column, we will store the total flips. In the third column, we will store the number of heads observed. And finally, we will store the number of tails observed. Number of tails can be calculated automatically as well. We can now execute the query to create the table. We can refresh the table folder to view the table and its columns. We can also use the select command in the query editor to view the table and results. We will use the random function in SQL query to simulate a coin flip. The random function generates random numbers between 0 and 1. We can use the floor function to convert decimal numbers into absolute values. Since floor function rounds down the decimal numbers, we need to multiply the random values by 2 to randomly generate zeros and ones. Zeros will represent the tails, and ones will represent the heads. Let's declare a variable h to store the number of heads observed. Let's set the value of h by adding random numbers to the existing value of h. This will count the number of heads observed, which are represented by 1. Tails, or zeros, will have no effect on the value of h. We can display the results using select command. Remember, every time this query is executed, the value of h is set to 0, and then the random value is added. Let's declare another variable named x. Now, using the variable x, we will create a while loop. The loop will continue till the value of x is 1000. To stop the loop at the 1000th iteration, we need to update the value of x on each iteration. We can now test the simulation by executing the query. The resulting value is the number of heads observed. The final value is close to 500, which is the 50% of 1000, confirming the probability of heads and tails to be 50-50 in a coin flip. Now we need to insert this entire query into another loop of 1000 iterations. This means that during a single execution, a coin will be flipped 1,000,000 times, creating a nice simulation to be observed in Power BI. Let's take this code outside into the outer loop. We also need to update the value of y, otherwise the outer loop will not stop at 1000, and will keep going forever. Now it is the time to store the outcomes of our simulation into the database, using the insert command. We already have the number of heads observed. Tails must be the difference of total flips, and the number of heads observed. We will get the current date and time, using the getDate function. Before starting the simulation, let's ensure that the table is empty. Let's start the simulation by executing the query. It seems that we forgot to enter a value for the total flips column. Let's enter 1000 as total coin flips. We can confirm the results by running the select query. As you can see, the simulation is working fine. We will also add a delay in our loop of 1 second. Power BI can be connected to the SQL Server database, using the Get Data feature. In the SQL Server database window, enter the name of server and the database. Make sure to select the Direct Query option, if you want to display the live data. Click on the OK button. Press Connect button, to connect to the server. In the Navigator window, select the table and press Load button, to load the table into the Power BI. All the fields will appear on the right side of the window, which can be used to create dashboards and reports. Let's start our Power BI dashboard by creating a title, using the text box visual. In the next step, we will add a gauge visual, to display the number of heads observed. We will set the values of heads, to minimum, maximum, and average. Similarly, we will add a gauge visual, to display the number of tails observed. We will place the gauge visuals at the top of the dashboard. Now we will display the total number of coin flips, number of heads observed, and the number tails observed, using the card visual. To display heads and tails by time, we will add a line chart. We will add the heads and tails to the y-axis of the line chart, and the date field to the x-axis. We will display the activity of last few seconds by filtering the data by date and time, using top and latest values. Power BI does not have a built-in histogram, however we can create one using the simple line and column chart. To create a histogram, we will add the head field to the x-axis, y-axis, and the line y-axis as well. Finally, we will add an actual histogram visual to our dashboard. This is a third-party visual, which you can find online. We will add the heads filed to the values, and the frequencies, of the histogram visual. Having these two histograms is helpful, as the line and column chart provides further details to the columns on the main histogram. In order to display live information in Power BI, we must enable the page refresh feature. We will set the refresh frequency to 1 second, just like our simulation in SQL Server. Now we can execute the query, and see if our dashboard is able to display the live information. Before running the simulation, we must delete the existing data. Finally, we can execute the query, and go back to the Power BI, to observe the data. Thanks for watching. We hope you liked our tutorial. Please like and share for future updates.